Aloha. My name is Helen Wong Smith. I'm the archivist for University Records, and I would like to entice you to come and have your practicum with me in the University Archives. I have over 35 years of experience with archival collections. I've had many interns and students work with me and have gone on to, if not working in archives as archivists themselves, as librarians in special collections. So I want to encourage you to consider the university archives because of the diversity of records and the good that you will have to make these available to the general public. So let's share a little bit about the university archives. This is a web page that you will easily get to from the Hamilton Library website. And so, although this is the landing page, I want to go delve into some of the hidden treasures in each of these collections, just to give you an idea of what's possible for you to work with and what you can reveal to others. So, the administrative and governing bodies, of course, will include these organizations. But what's very interesting is that because most of these things are not digitized, um, we get a lot of questions. When did the university decide to do this? Or what was the policy on this? Um, how do they handle um, controversies regarding this issue? So these can be found within these records oftentimes. And so, for instance, here are the minutes of the 1959 Board of Regents talking about adopting a policy for the establishment of the East West Center. Back then, they called it the International Center. And so, these are some of the things that you will be able to work with, hopefully process and index and make it available to others. The colleges, schools, research institutes is huge. The different types of records that we have there, most famous, I should say, is are the Ramonzo Adams Social Laboratory records because he would have the students would go out and interview their communities, their families, um, come back with very thought-provoking and insightful oral histories and such that at the beginning of the 20th century, and then they would also come back with come together and create these handmade maps and put little dots where different ethnicities lived. And it's just a fabulous resource. They have been used, these resources have been used internationally. We have a database that you can actually, here's some of the indices, and here are some of the finding aid and so on. But in addition to that, we have a database that if you type in a word such as racism, you come up with the results. Now, this is to say, not everything has been indexed, I would say, to the level because when you consider the era and the people that they were interviewing, to have only one result for the word racism is a little unlikely. So I would encourage you to look. This is one of those resources that we should look further into. So, for instance, those of you who know the famous Hawaiian legislator, Joseph Navahi, this is an oral history that survey that he conducted with his mother, excuse me, grandmother, the widow of Joseph Navahi. And so this is the grandson who is named after um, the esteemed lawmaker. At the age of 16, he interviewed his grandmother, and this goes on for pages, giving insight to the overthrow of Hawaii, um, to the social economic occurrences that were during this interview that were occurring during this interview. So this is a fabulous resource. This was not, and let me tell you, they're going to be talking about racism in here. So this is an example of some of the resources in here. We also have the records of faculty and students. This is growing as we speak. Um, Here is a picture of Alice Augustus Ball her two other classmates. Um, and she is the first woman of Black woman to receive an advanced degree. And she is actually the person who discovered the cure for leprosy, or it was, as it was called back then. And so we get inquiries about her all the time. Sadly, after she graduated, she worked at the university in our chemistry department and discovered this particular tree that would have an effect on leprosy and the Hansen's disease. And then she died at 25 years old. Dean was the president of the university, took credit for her work, and Dean Hall is named after her. So there is currently a an effort by students and others to rename Dean Hall after Alice Hall. So these are the types of things that we work with. We answer. We provide the resources um, to promote these agendas. It's a wonderful thing. Some of the other gold mines that I found in the faculty and student papers um, is that did you know that the first, her name was Gladys Lee, well, she went by Gladys Lee when she moved to Hollywood, and she won the first documentary film Oscar. So I do get inquiries about her. What was she was the editor of the Quill? It was a student magazine, literary magazine. Here is a picture of President Sinclair watching Sinclair Library being built. And then somebody who's rewriting the book on tarot, on Kalo, asked me for the um, records of Pope, Dr. Pope. So here we have the 1936 handout that was given, and this is for the cooperative extension, agricultural extension service. And he was one of the first to, they wanted to find out, was he the first one to um, name the different parts of the tarot, and did he utilize the Hawaiian names? You know, when was the first time that the Hawaiian names were ascribed to the parts of the tarot plant? So these are all the different types of things that we have in here. Everybody loves photos, so we have an extensive photo collection. The Masao Miyamoto collection is 70,000 images. Uh, we have not systematically scanned and indexed them. I hope to do that one day. And following him, we have another collection. When he was here for something like 42 years. Um, Robert Chin's collections have not been investigated or indexed either. And so some of the wealth of the Masao Miyamoto collections, this is the way we find them now. We have these chronological um, indices. And so you have everything from who are the users? You want people to see what was the landscape like in 1964. Here's an aerial um, looking Diamond Head from Tantlis, I believe. And then you have social protests. Here are um, protesters in front of the um, Kennedy Theater. You have the architects who are trying to um, rehabilitate buildings and put them back to their original um, footprint and so on. So here's Bachman Hall when it was first dedicated. So there's a variety of resources, as in any archives, but we have such a wonderful collection that is really hidden and needs to be promoted more, and the diversity of uses that can be applied. So this is something that I did last year. I realized that most people on campus don't know about the university archives and its um, wealth. And so I asked a very talented graphic artist, part of the staff here at UH, and I said, okay, I can't design a poster to save my life. And he came up with these. I gave him the images. The one on the left is Chief Justice Richardson when he was a student here. The law school is named after him. The second one is a member of the Peace Corps who was trained here in Hawaii, and he's reading a Fijian newspaper. The third is an image from our manuscript collection of the 442nd. And then the last on the right is an open house from the College of Engineering, as you can see, 1976. So all of these types of things are, this is just indicative of the breadth of our resources. So the joy of doing your practicum with the University Archives is that your product can be seen worldwide. Previously we used to have exhibits, physical exhibits here in the library, and this is an example, excellent exhibit. But last year, um, Moki Rente Cruz created processed a collection of Luciano Minervi, who had retired from urban and regional planning after 50 years, who was instrumental in going out into the communities. It was community-based planning and actually asking the community, what do you want? What do you think of this proposed development? How do you think we can keep the sense of place um, while accepting growth? So this is a huge collection, and Moki just worked on a part of it and created this fabulous online exhibit, and which you can find on our website as well under blogs. So these are some of the things that I encourage you to take a look at. So with that, I will stop sharing and encourage you to consider the university archives. I have such a wealth of resources and materials and records in there that basically anything you have an interest in, we can put you on it. So email is smith at hawaii.edu. I am the first Smith to receive email in the university system. That's how old I am. And with that, I hope to see you soon. Aloha.